Discord to say that we are streaming. Also put on the tournament page. Should be good. Just because the tournament page is dead. So might as well. Did my stream go online? Yeah, okay, looks like we're good in terms of... Oh, I was streaming, so I was, I think I told you last time, we were talking on Twitch, I guess, and I was able to, I think I won just 4 tree games in a row, and now I'm top 10, 10th place
Oh,
tree. I'm like, how? That's pretty funny.
yeah. I have played so few factions, though.
Hmm.
I suppose I've probably wonder if I won 3 or 4 Phoenix Elf games before I stopped playing, but I'm not top 10 with them. But yeah, I mean, I was sitting at top. Well, I was sitting at number 1 for the tree,
Hmm.
despite not playing any games for a long time. But I played a lot at the beginning of the season.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I started playing again now that all my other tournaments are finishing up. Right around the time G-Man made a push, and he
Oh,
actually
G-Man
passed
playing
me
tree?
for a day. Yeah, he even passed me for a day before I took it back.
That's funny. So now there's a competition for first place tree. Let's see the ladder. Oh, I haven't played my games. Sometimes I just like I start games and I get so busy I forget I even had games queued.
Oh,
But I don't usually. I'm trying to get back into playing ladder. I usually don't play too much ladder. So let's see, tree, chosen grove. Yep, yep. Yeah, you're pretty comfortably ahead. 100 points can be hard for G-Man. That's so funny because I never see Tree as a G-Man faction, but maybe he's getting tired of only playing aggressive factions, or maybe he's trying to figure out a way to play Tree aggressively, just discard super heavily, get mobile Tree very quickly.
yeah. And then I've actually run into his avians
Hmm.
like twice in the last 3 days or so, which is a good matchup for Tree.
Interesting. So now you think it's a good I guess yeah, no, so from the league data we also saw it was a pretty good matchup for Tree.
Yeah, and even like when we streamed like my game versus Tort, we were saying it was a good matchup for Tree.
Mm-mm.
My first time ever playing it, which was before I'd played too much of Tree. It felt kind of bad, but then yeah, since then, got better at Tree. It's felt good. Problem with their range game is it relies on commons, and the thing Tree struggles with in a range game is a really strong summoner or even a champ. But
Mm.
when you can pull them with Vine Mancer, it just really opens up the options to counter their range.
That makes sense. Yeah, Vimashers are so strong. Um, yeah, Tree's such a fun faction. I think it's one of my favorites actually. Um, yeah, I need to play more of it, but I think there's an argument next plat hat I bring it as one of my 4. Um, Also because I think it matches up decently well into the new factions. How do you feel it does versus? Actually, no, against the lizards, it probably struggles with, but against the, do you think it has a good matchup into uh, Spectral Conclave?
I think it's good against Spectral Conclave from my initial games.
Hmm.
I think the Stag Riders can really just rack up a lot of kills against the illusions, and you have to be careful. In my last game against them, I almost ran out of ranged units. I was down to my final seed bearer, but Not that you have to play every Stag Rider either, because if they don't reach your Stag Riders, you don't need to play more. But between Adric, the Stag Riders, and the Seed Bears, I think you have enough
Mm.
range. And then, yeah, for Isle Beckett, like the dancing strategy can be really annoying to deal with. But
I can imagine. Mm.
so far, I've been able to, still get the win. I even like I defeated allies Isle Beckett, and I
Oh,
mean he
cool.
knows the Isle Beckett well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it seemed doable so far.
Mm. Yeah, I just feel like against Vekid, the octopus would just be a nightmare to deal with because you can't. It would be hard for you to. Um, I guess they probably want to attack you straight on, or probably just attack you diagonally. But it would be hard to get uproots on it. I guess would be the main thing. But it only has 8 health, so I guess you could just uproot for the dice for the 4 dice. Yeah, I'll have to think about it.
Yeah, I remember kind of playing around it. I think it was maybe against Watered.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, I don't remember if you actually ended up summoning it or not, but I guess if you keep your health up high, it's okay if you take a single swing from, well,
Mm-hmm.
but you also have a good amount of blockers, and maybe you only take the diagonal damage, like you said, if you have Protect active. Yeah, it is a tough matchup for Tree, I'll say that, but again, so far it's been manageable.
Cool, cool. Yeah, no, I'm excited to play more and see it in action or watch your games. Hey Nestle, hey Rod. So we have both of them in the chat. That's great. That's great. So we can get their feedback on what we're saying wrong or what we're saying right, or their thoughts. Um, all right, should we get started?
There, sounds good.
Cool, cool. I'll start recording then. All right, so I think or Nestle and Run, let us know if we should do it in any specific order. But I guess we can just start with the first game because that shouldn't matter who wins. Um, so Run has Fungal Dwarves, Spectral Conclave, and Swamp Orcs against Nestle's Filth, High Elves, and Storm Goblins. Interesting. So I think both of them had multiple options, which are kind of viable. Um, what do you think? What would you choose here as Run shoots, given those 3 options?
Yes, so some interesting choices. I think I'd prefer Nestle's choices here. I think Fungal Dwarves is probably just, unless you're certain that Nestle's not going to pick Storm Goblins, like you just avoid Fungal Dwarves. Um, and then if you pick Spectral, well, I'm not too familiar with Spectral Conclave into High Elves or Filth, but I personally prefer Spectral Conclave against the Storm Goblins. So again, if I thought Nestle was picking Storm, I'd pick the Spectral.
Mm-hmm.
And Swamp Orcs are probably the most interesting, and probably depends how comfortable you are with them, because I think they have a good matchup against High Elves. I think against Filth is close. Like I like the Swamp Orcs in that matchup, but Filth definitely have tools to deal with Swamp Orcs as well. Um, but then it also depends how comfortable are you with Swamp Orcs against Storm Goblins, because I think it can be done because of the threat of Muglug, but of course your swamp is susceptible to Storm, so it is kind of a risky gamble. So yeah, definitely different ways you could go here, especially depending on how hard you want to read what Nestle is going to pick.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like you said, Swamp Orcs into. I think my gut says Swamp Orcs here, but I think that's a very like you have to be comfortable with it. And also, you not only have to be comfortable with it, you also have to be comfortable with it against Storm Goblins, which, like you said, is very. It can be a tricky matchup. It's not necessarily Storm Goblins favored, but you do have to be careful with your swamp as Swamp Orcs. And unless you have experience with it, you might not want to. You can get like steamrolled by Storm Goblins unless you uh, kind of know their tricks. Um,
Yeah, and I think my gut also says Swamp Orcs, particularly because I'm scared of the High Elf matchup
hmm
with Spectral Conclave, but I can't really say from experience. I just know that like
yeah,
um
you can push.
4% kill
Yeah,
the Conclave units.
exactly. Um, and then on Nestle's side, I think, like you said, I think all three of these are very viable. It's just whatever you're more comfortable with playing. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. If if I thought Run was going to pick Swamp Orcs, that would maybe be a reason. Like I don't like High Elves into Swamp Orcs. Um, I'm sure some people do.
hmm
But again, Muglook can just cut through your formation so fast. So if I thought Run was going to pick Swamp Orcs, I would maybe pick Stealth
hmm
or Storm.
Or
Yeah,
Storm, yeah.
like you said, you could really go either way. But um, yeah,
Cool.
with
So,
these choices of Spectral Conclave versus High Elf, again, I would probably pick High Elf in this matchup. Not from experience, but just thinking High Elves have a really strong range game with Peace Fortress, of course,
hmm
and then when Val's in the action, she can just slice up those illusions really fast.
agreed. I think a lot of the auras, like you said, Peace Aura, Judgment Aura, even getting the 2 health down to 1 is a big deal. Um, like a lot of you have tools. You have the trick where you can push and deal damage to the spirits before they're able to depart. Um, but at the same time, if Run is able to use, I guess this is like it's a formation faction, so if you're able to use the bird spirits, um, potentially you and the champions, potentially you have some shots here. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you're able to get in that formation. But yeah, I'm assuming Nestle will probably stay back early on, and Run will have to go to him, and then maybe swap afterwards. No worries,
Yeah,
Run.
and it
Go on.
should be fairly safe for Bayren to get involved in the action. And not one of those assassination factions where you have to stay on the opposite side of the board.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree with like strategically, Spectral Conclave is probably going to push up.
Yeah, my mages probably can do some work if Valera is not too careful. Because Strong Aura can go, it doesn't matter. Strong Aura is on both allies and enemies. So um, my mages might be able to. Nestle has to be a little bit careful with my mages, especially if Valera gets low. Valeria.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Should we start?
Sure.
Cool. Looks like Nestle goes first. We got the High Elf Justice in front of Gate. Also nice. Atone. Sorry, I was thinking not Judgment. I was thinking about Atone. Atone looks really nice in this matchup because basically anytime one of the spirits attack in the aura, their health goes down from 2 to 1. So it just makes it a lot easier for ranged dice to do work.
Yep. I was just reading about the strategy on Discord earlier today about blocking the forward spot right away. And really just, I mean, the perfect um, starts where you can attack with peace and then still get it within Justice's aura
hmm
without taking that atone damage on peace.
Yeah, great point. Using them, manipulating the auras nicely. All right, tries to get a double attack and doesn't get the. Oh, actually, didn't update on my screen. Yeah, so got some decent dice, but the sad thing is Justice can now just suicide itself if it wants to,
Yeah.
or potentially just keep blocking the forward gate spot if Nestle wants. I think this turn you probably because Run's already at 5 magic, so you don't care if they get a. Um, you're probably expecting Talul. Do you care about denying magic against the Fae or not too much? Shoots.
I mean, I don't yet
Mm, sorry.
try to give them magic because of the champs, of course.
hmm
But that is an interesting choice of do you just get rid of the justice to deny the magic? I mean, it was like an easy kill for, say, a fox, but
Yeah.
what they used. Oh, yeah, so they will get the kill, get the magic. Um,
Yeah, yeah. It's a nice turn by run, especially like you said, given that they had no foxes in hand at that turn. So we get an early Albus. Nice here to make your justice not kill itself. Also, just the 3 dice is nice into 2.
yeah, good stats, and getting rid of depart, of course, is really nice in this matchup.
Yep, yep. I might have to pause for a second while I get my food. Where is? Let me pause. All right, give me a minute. I'll be right back. Sorry about that.
Okay.
All right, sorry about this. Uh, Run says it was so difficult to dislodge justices from the forward gate spot. Yeah, that's a high elf special, especially when most of your units are commons.
Yeah, and like if your goal was to advance Faerun, of course that gets in the way of going on any sort of offensive.
Mm-hmm. True. Interesting.
Yeah, but with the,
I guess. Oh, sorry. Were you gonna say something? Shoots.
oh, I mean with the justices in the midfield, you can, I mean, just fight over the midfield and, well, I'm not sure if I if I have the best Spectral Conclave strategy, but I always kind of have econ in my mind, so maybe I try to play them more economically than ideal, but I often do find myself just sitting back with Spectral Conclave, rather than going on the offensive.
Mm.
Largely because it's so hard to get Faerun involved and also be safe.
True. True. I guess the other thing is that that's not true. Liberty turns will be interesting if Nestle uses any of them this game because it can be potentially dangerous with stags um, and mind witches or mind witches. What are those things called? Yeah, mind mages. All right, should we continue? Sorry for the. I'll start again. Fadeaway would be nice. That's true. That is a good point. So Nestle gets another justice in front of the gate. This is the turn we saw before I left. Albus gets a shot at the stag. I think he's able to kill both stags. Yeah. And then I think Run does a neat trick here to try to reclaim his gate spot, duplicating the hawk. It looks like to push. Also, to get, also, that's also nice to get more attacks on the justice. And I think at this point, Run has dealt with 3 justices, so potentially only 2 left. Because I think this is the second one which was summoned. Ooh, not the best dice there. Ooh, what do you attack here? I guess the justice also. Yeah, hope for
Yeah,
the three.
because
Sorry.
this piece still has tough up, so there's not too much point in attacking piece right now.
Hmm. Tries to go for more damage on Faerun. Interesting. Nestle didn't go for the double attack on Faerun there. Could have done the priest behind the justice. No, I guess the priest would heal the justice back to two, so it's not. You can't do that play. But you could do the justice attacks Faerun, and then there's a range unit behind Faerun to get the double attack. Also, if they had Liberty, they
Yeah,
could
but
start on.
there's also not really too much pressure to go face.
Hmm.
Like, I think as high elves, I'm just going value every turn. Um, I
Clearing.
just think like Peace Fortress will be really hard to deal with if that's the route that Nestle chooses to go.
Hmm. Great point. Okay, nice gate. I like it. Nice two gates. Sort of it's gonna be more of a closed off position. But sometimes high elves pushing up can be a detriment for high elves because oh, interesting. Attacking your own gate to get your own gate position. I'm assuming depart. Oh, I see. I see. I see. Cool play to get the justice. Very creative run. We have a
That's
very
really
close off
interesting.
position here.
Yeah, really pushing forward here. I guess
Interesting.
he's taking down the gate, so he'll open up the position a bit.
Hmm. I see. The oblige to get the last attack on the gate. Interesting. Because you have to be always careful with your formation as high elves. If you push up too far, and they're able to summon units in your formation, you can get into a lot of trouble. But this is a nice,
Hmm.
as he's trying to open up one sort of avenue, basically the our left side of the board, and then keep the right side kind of closed.
Yeah, I mean, he's really trapped Run into a corner of the board.
Mm-hmm.
Make it a lot safer to advance. Run's able to seal the one summoning spot back. Nestle still has a few like advance spaces if he wants to keep this offensive going.
So it runs at 7 magic, but I think uh they discarded Muro, so they don't have command, but they can potentially summon a bunch of mind mages and other units. Okay, was that a Valeria up and down to get the fox out of position? Interesting. We haven't seen this is the first unleash in hand, and they also have a fade away, which is like Run said would have been nice with the two cost commons in the front justices.
Yeah, definitely. No, if he pushes up the war, there could be a good target for it later.
Ooh.
But yeah, not right now. One kind of cool thing about Unleash is even with Sanctity up, you can still threaten, 5, or with
True.
Myro, you can even get like 6 damage on Val still.
That's nuts, actually. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. It'll be an interesting league matchup. All right, so the second oblige, so Run can rest a little bit more easier.
Was the first oblige also used on a Mind Mage?
No, it was to kill the gate, the reposition the piece to kill the.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is definitely nice when both of the opponent's obliges are gone and you can stop playing around it.
Mm,
Trick is not to lose too much value before then.
this has been a crazy game in terms of dice rolls. I think the range dice have been for both players. Not there's been lots of whiffs. I guess in this long of a game, you expect though at least some whiffs.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, Talo is able to keep getting involved and then retreating to safety. Still has full health.
Hmm. mean, surprisingly, they both are. Okay, we get a Liberty. They're surprisingly both.
Wonder if this is face, like swing for
Yeah,
6 with war.
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, especially with the Albus there. A little bit dangerous though, especially if there's any stags. Ooh, both players. But yeah, makes sense. Go face still.
Yeah, he gets the 6 for 6. Yeah, now
Nicely blocks the gate
everyone's gonna
position.
play safe.
Yeah. But split, yeah, split is another action because it's during movement phase with Liberty. Like you have to be super careful. Use the War Aura, nice play. Guess the 3.
Oh,
Still tries to close out the position. Very afraid of because they're not going to kill War, it seems, so it makes sense. But Valeria down to 5 in a turn. That's nuts. And then
well,
fade
it does
away.
have, yeah, the fadeaway on the war.
War, yeah.
Yeah, so now, I mean, they both have to be very safe
Mm.
at this point forward.
And there's still another
This,
unleash. Sorry, go on.
especially with the obliges gone, Val's range is a lot more limited.
Great point.
Just like her dictate tricks, but she also has to like stay back and stay safe now.
Mm. A good point. Have both splits been used? Let me pause quickly, just so we know. So one Ghost Walk, Fade Away, only one split, so potentially for another split. So Valeria needs to be very careful with her positioning.
Mm.
6 magic. Oh, both splits have been used? My bad, Nestle. Oh yeah, the first one was used to push the Justice away from the gate spot. Oh, we got a Titus
Oh,
sighting! Let's go! Now the question is, will this throw the game for Nestle? Will this be the beginning of the end for Nestle? All right, Titus doing its
yeah.
job.
After I tuck up Cassia and the Peace Fortress, we get the other champs instead. I mean, Elvis is great in this matchup.
True, true, true. Albus has been doing work.
I just can just get kited by a fox.
Does engage work on forced units? No, right?
It does, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so it is offering protection here. Um,
Yeah, because Fent doesn't work with Titus, right? You just kill the fox. So it's kind of good,
oh
but
yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah, you cannot kite Titus with a fox.
Titus MVP. I wonder if Run. Let us know if you had to rewind the fox. Hmm. Yeah, Cassia in your starting hand with 3 justices. Yeah, makes sense that you couldn't use it. Also, Cassia is probably not the like. You probably don't even need Cassia too much in this matchup compared to others.
And really, I think all three of the champs are pretty good here.
Mm.
The reason I say Titus is decent here is because you do get a lot of magic from killing illusions, so you can afford him more than you can in most matches. And well, as I realized on stream, he does counter the foxes. It's also useful for blocking the what's it called, Swift, not Swift, Split, as
Mm.
in like blocking routes to your summoner and such. Plus, Titus is gone now.
All right, both champs are off the board beside Albus.
Yeah, I mean Elvis has hung around forever, and um, Halo Halo lasted a really long time as well.
Hmm. I guess the tricks you have, especially with your gates back here, no splits, the tricks of the foxes, even though you have both unleashes, because I feel like I always like my card I'd be the side of relief against when the foxes are done with both of them is unleash, because when both unleashes are gone, I just feel like they have a lot less possibilities. But I guess split is also up there. Gets one.
Okay, so Run is saying Nestle is playing around the possession attack range.
Hmm.
Nestle says Run had a potential kill.
Uh, Mage could have possessed priest. Let's see. So this turn. Sorry, there's so many turns in this game. It's hard to just follow along. All right, let's see. So what was the play here? So Nestle's saying, "Oh, this must have been a turn before because he has Ghost Walk." Okay, let's see. So this he does have Ghost Walk here. I see, I see. So it's already active. So the play Nestle's saying would have been, uh, could have Ghost Walked with the mage would have possessed the priest. He's saying.
Yeah,
Oh, I
so
see, I see.
Priest-
Unleash
the
of Endless.
priest attacks, then Ghostwalk with the priest to attack with Feyrend, then Unleash to get a Stag Rider
Stag
for
Rider.
2.
That's a sick play. That's really sick.
Yeah, so then I suppose as if you see the play, I'm not sure what the percentage of that is. 5 of 7, like that could go either way. But then the question is, who's going to win the econ game?
Afterwards.
Uh,
I mean, Farron's dead afterwards if they whiff.
yeah, so I'm saying if you don't go for it, like, do you like your chances in the econ game, or do you assume high elves are going to win the econ game?
Mm.
Like, I
I
mean,
mean,
card count is pretty even. Say, Hilaria is a bit ahead on is traditionally really good at econ. Like, even just a peace and a war at the end of the game can do a lot of work.
mm, mm, mm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I could definitely see going for that play right now.
I wonder what let's see what the odds are. It would have been so two sword, five bow. 68%. So
Yeah, I think I go
go
for
for it.
it if I
Mm-mm-mm.
saw it.
In this position.
Hmm.
Yep. Because what do you have? You have Silex left. I guess you potentially have three more boosts left, so that might be something. But I mean, your units die really quickly in this matchup.
Yeah,
Mm.
and like Nestle's mentioned, he's discarded Cassia, but of course Run doesn't know that either.
True.
Like a Cassia piece war endgame is
Impossible.
really hard to get through.
Agreed. Sick play. All right. So they still have Silac. Silac is not the best, I guess, this late into the game because you've already, as high elf, played all your expensive units really. Um, though maybe really late game if you only expose one unit at once, that'd be actually interesting. They can only get one kill per turn. Then Silac does its job. Actually,
I haven't
maybe.
summoned her
Sorry, go on.
haven't summoned her too much myself because the other champs like let you do cool things yourself, whereas she's more about stopping your opponents. Um,
Very true.
So it's like harder to see what's doing for you because it's like, what did that one less magic stop them from doing, and you don't really know. So it's harder to see her effect on the game. Um, or like it's an end game state like this, and you have almost no illusions
Mm.
left. In this case, there are quite a few illusions, especially with the unleashes, which hopefully he'll still have 5 attacks when the unleashes get played, but it's starting to look like it might just be for the boost at this point.
Very true. Actually, the more I think about it, Silac late game is actually pretty good because you don't want to discard any more cards for Magic at that stage. Like when you're down to 4 cards. Um,
Hmm.
so Run killing their own gates makes sense. They don't want to die to inactivity damage. Also give themselves more avenues. Especially with Valeria back here. And Nestle being smart, just, you know, range game, like you said. The pick away at gates.
Yep, keeping the war back,
Hmm.
where Run can't steal the aura.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, nice mind mage. Can potentially snipe out Albus here. And then,
Nestle says
so go.
Nestle says that um,
You only had a
Silac
perception.
or Silk
Hmm.
doesn't the ability doesn't really affect him because he's not saving up for anything, just has a priest.
Mm.
But if he had Cassia, then it could be key.
True, true, true. Just never be able to summon it.
Everyone's, pretty out in the open here, so um, see, Run's kind of out of options at this point.
Yeah, definitely. This game looks very over. Um, but yeah, fun game. It's interesting that even with all, like, it looked very oppressive by Nestle, but even then, Run did have one single turn, I guess, or a turn where they could have had the advantage of winning. Huh. Do you unleash here? Yeah. Too many range units now for foxes to be interesting.
Hmm.
And then they fade away. I mean, it is a little bit scary here for Nestle, especially if that was his last unit. Because now Faderin has one more boost. Valeria has to kind of stay in the back. Mattering on the, I guess, the dice rolls here. Have to be a little bit careful.
Karen's out of boost right now. Oh no, yeah, Fade Away is going to give a boost, yeah.
Yep, yep. Yeah, I guess the if it was Run's turn, it might be scary, but because it was Nestle's turn, it's not as. Uh, no, it still is kind of scary to be honest. Yeah, because yeah, Run has no more cards.
Yeah, still quite a bit of life left on Silk.
Hmm. She was just a body, really. Yeah. I mean, a 7-3 body is no joke. Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Oh,
Especially marrying the cards. Oh, loyalty? That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
oh, yeah, that looking like game.
Yep, yep. Because I think you didn't really have another turn there if you were Nestle. That's surprisingly close the way that ended. I'm curious
Let's
what.
see if he had whiffed the roll. I think Al is still alive.
Most likely, let's see. So you could.
Well, I guess
It
I mean
might
Faerun
be.
has a couple boosts, but I think you only get 2 attacks on Val. But you can also finish off the war.
Mm.
You could get two stags on Vel, so if you want to go for the kill the next turn, you could get 6 melee. No, you'd need 4 moves to do that. I was thinking, no,
Psych.
move Fey Rin, summon a stag, summon another stag, but Silk's in the way, so that would take 4 moves. But yeah,
Mm.
suddenly the econ was looking in Spectra Conclave's favor, which I was not expecting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I completely agree.
Nestle had the tools at the end to get the was it an assassination or just an end game play?
Mm. Yeah, Ron says GG's, and they agree with you shoots that they would have taken the 68% chance if they had seen it. Yeah, 68. Cool. All right, 1-0 for Nestle. Let's keep going. Ooh, next up we have we have a long game coming up. All right, so Run has High Elves, Crimson Order, and Fallen Kingdoms. Nestle has Forged, Vanguards, and uh, I was gonna say Frozen Dwarves, Polar Dwarves. um, what are you thinking here as Run?
I think I would have taken High Elves. I am most comfortable with High Elves out of these three factions, but I think High Elves have a really good matchup into Vanguards and into Polar Dwarves. And then for the Forge matchup, one might be close to 50-50. Um, I'd be most worried about Forge in that matchup. Otherwise, I'm really not sure about the Fallen Kingdom matchups there. I have heard that Crimson Order can struggle against Vanguards because of Vanguards just getting Citadel Knights over and over again, but it is probably a matchup you need to know how to play well.
Mm,
Um, I'm not sure if I played it, but yeah, I'd probably go High Elves here myself, but again, I am biased towards them out of the three.
I see. Uh, Nestle says that he thinks Hyle's Forged is just a bit too bad, I guess, to Forged. So he thinks is Hyle favored Nestle. Um, but yeah, Hyle's Vanguards is
I
impossible for
think,
Vanguards. Go on.
but Nestle's saying Forged is favored against High Elves,
I see. Really? Interesting.
which
Mm,
I mean, I could see that. I've played it a couple times, but it usually comes down to like a ball of units and trying to get the assassination. But with Dictate and Oblige, I've been able to, I think, generally win the matchup. But yeah, it's definitely a tricky one, and I I would agree. Like if I picked tiles here, I would want to see Vanguards or Polar Dwarves. I would not want to see Forged. Um, but it wouldn't be at the end of the world. I don't think.
mm, yeah, it's
How
a
about
interesting.
you? Who would you pick as run?
Um, so I think the two choices are Hyles and Crimson Order, just because I think the Fallen Kingdoms matchups are not the necessarily best. Like Fallen Kingdoms into Vanguards is not the. I mean, it's probably slightly Fallen Kingdom's favored, but still not. It's a legacy matchup. It's pretty well balanced, I think. Um, Same thing with into Polar Dwarves. So I don't think you can go Fallen Kingdoms. Um, I think if you do think that High Elves is bad into Forged, then Crimson Order makes sense. Um, by Run. And it looks like Run said that they looked at the win stats for this one, so I'd have to see. But I trust Nestle to say that it's in general probably Forge favored. Um, this is an interesting matchup. It's pretty 50-50 ish, like just mattering on what happens. I think the key for Vanguards, from what I've seen, the one time this was played during the league, is that it really matters if Vanguard is able to summon Colleen early enough, because Colleen just makes it really hard for Crimson Order to trade effectively. Because I think in general Crimson Order have the trade advantage until Colleen comes down, and then it's just like it might be Vanguard's favored, mattering how well the special dice are rolled.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't play too much Crimson Order or Vanguards myself.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I guess as Nestle again, it's just kind of predicting what run's going to pick because again, if he picks high elves, I do not want Vanguards here. Um,
True.
but yeah, if he goes for the other two, then yeah, it's a good pick. So worked out worked out for Nestle. Of course, we'll see. Maybe Crimson Order gets it, but I think I like Vanguards. Well, again, I don't know how Forged. Actually, I like Crimson Order over Forged. So I think if you're predicting run goes Crimson Order, then Vanguards is the right choice.
Mm. Is there a way for me to open up? No, not really. I'd have to. It'd be too complicated for me to open up the spreadsheet on stream. I'll try to upload it to Google Docs so we can do a Joe sheet or faction versus faction win percentage next time. Um, cool. Should we get into it?
Sure.
Cool. This is gonna be a longer one, as expected. This faction cannot. This is just the matchup, which is guaranteed to go late. What does Run do with these gates? And does he discard a gate? I'm assuming Sacment goes into the bin, though if it's later on, it's usable in this matchup. But I guess what are you trying to do here as both sides, in your opinion, shoots?
Yeah. Hmm. I'm not even sure who, like, which faction is supposed to go on the aggression. Or are you just fighting for the midfield with both?
I mean, that's interesting. Because, like, Crimson Order versus Vanguard, sorry, Crimson Order versus High Elves, you always want to be the one being aggro because you want specifically your Doom Cultists to be inside that formation, pinging, taking advantage of the auras and pinging damage. Versus in this one, you're kind of playing keep away with Sarah a little bit because you don't want Sarah to get too much value off Might. It's a tricky matchup.
Yeah, because I mean, as Daymar, I want to be getting my health back so I can keep um, using Blood Begotten with the warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And in these econ matches, I just like to focus down the units that cost 2 magic because if you keep removing those, they have to replace them, and then they can never save up for a champ or have to discard heavily to get a champ. So that's generally my focus is focus down the 2 health units,
Mm.
but then also you both get value from attacking, so want to get your own summoner involved while
Good.
dodging the opponent's summoner.
Great point. Yeah, those. It's a tricky situation. I like this play by Nestle here because I was thinking, is he gonna double attack? No, he just puts the knights into position because a single attack with Sarah gets another common back. So interesting way because I feel like a lot of people would just summon 2 commons there and then fall behind on tempo. Versus here, yeah, able to hit the 2 for 3, um, get a unit back, keep on tempo a little bit. I think that's a very it's small but cool turn by Nestle. All right. Do you think it's worth using Blood Begons on this gate?
But I mean, I do like using the Blood Begotten and trying to hit the 5 for 5 on Knight.
Mm.
I mean, that's like a 40% chance, so I think it's worth it.
Mm.
And then, yeah, I wouldn't use Blood Begotten on the other gate. I mean, we haven't seen the other 3 gates, so it might be a bit early to use up a bunch of life on Daymar.
Yeah, to lower it. Yeah, I think renewed hope. So once both renewed hopes are off, Daymar can play a lot more aggressive because that's kind of like the big surprise mechanic. Wayfarers or not Wayfarers, Vanguards have. Interesting, but I do agree with you. I do like the idea of run using the 5 for 5s because this will be a long game. Some of the 40% chance will hit. Um, I think Nestle was trying to get their gate spot back here, but they just whiffed on the knight.
But they would have had to hit 4 for 5.
Uh,
So could easily go either way. But yeah, it doesn't end up getting either of the kills, it looks like. So
mm. Ooh, we get the fabled triple priest Daymar. The triple priest Daymar. Run says the hope surprised me. Keeping the knight on e6 was crucial. So A B C D E 6. Yeah, basically trying to get back this gate spot.
yeah, and it is rough for Nestle being stuck on one gate still, and he's
Mm.
gone through a decent bit of the deck already. And he went second, so hasn't had his forward gate spot the entire game, which is also something often complained about on Discord.
Yep. Triple priest Daymar. I guess Nestle. Yeah, the interesting thing is this kind of prevents Nestle from trying to keep attacking this priest, or like trying to regain this area over here. Um, but at the same time, the only bad thing about this triple priest Daymar is only one of them can follow Daymar if he pushes up.
Yeah, Run just rolled
Terribly.
what, like 3 for 8 or something.
I'm a little bit of a hater of matchups like this because I feel like it feels more like a dice game to me in matchups like these very long, drawn out, where I feel like tempo a lot of times has very little to do with how well you play and more to do with the dice you roll. But I'm just very biased. It's similar to Fallen Kingdoms. Fungal Dwarves is another one where you know crucial whiff as on a carry or as a beast, and you just feel like you're just losing very hard.
I do like trying to beat Crimson Order economically with factions like Chosen Grove or Sand Goblins came up earlier in this tournament.
Mm.
Um, and just because Crimson Order has such limited mobility, it makes it easier to predict their moves and play around it. But then, like you said, I mean, your strategy can still get wrecked by dice, but I suppose that's
Mm-mm.
normal in every Summoner Wars game. So yeah, so far I've enjoyed playing against Crimson Order. But yeah, I mean Crimson Order versus Vanguards is a different beast where I mean you're both playing recursion factions, so
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't mind playing against recursion factions. It's more just like you said, when it's two recursion factions, that's when um, my my PTSD of dice increases.
mm-hmm.
Okay, nice hand by Run. Damar's still high. Run's done a great job keeping Damar at below or above 7. Has 2 call 4ths. Very event heavy hand, but at the same time that's kind of nice for this position because they have I mean they have 2 call 4s first of all, and second of all, um, they have a bunch of units already on board. Um, I think the struggle will be like Nestle says that there's a lot of stuff to move. So Sarah's pretty safe here. So we get the last transfuse. Both have been used nicely. Um, but yeah, this is a lot of stuff. Ideally, I guess this gate here, it might be worth Run killing their 2 health gate at some point, just so that they have easier access. Because in a certain way, this is also kind of nice for Sarah because they can play a little less scared. And I think that's why Run is also positioning their units um, in lines to prevent Sarah. Like at least Sarah gets punished if it chooses to attack a unit. Yeah, yeah, that's what it seems like. Run, that you're tired of feeding Sarah cards, so now you're playing lion formations.
Was this a league matchup a couple seasons ago?
Yes, it was.
Okay, I actually think I faced Nestle that week and got destroyed. But
I placed Lena Lee, but I
well,
got 2-0'd also.
so Nestle's got some experience in this matchup.
I like this gate. Not necessarily just because it or these two gates, not necessarily just because it is more defensive, but also because it leaves lanes open for Sarah to potentially push up to attack.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
So
run seems
Damar's
so go on.
backing up.
Mm.
Was trying to think where he's like looking to reform the Damar cannon.
Hmm.
As far as cards in deck, pretty even still. Although Nestle has a lot more magic. Ron's got a lot more on the board, of course.
Mm-hmm. Is this a Colleen turn? Let's see it. Also, Run's been super unfortunate on these devout cultists. At least the one Damar's hitting. I think none of them have been. It's been at least like I think 4 of them, and none of them have come back.
Well, here's the Colleen.
Colleen. Yeah, Colleen makes devout cultists feel useless. They just do nothing. They tickle all your units now, so you have to uh, focus more on knights. Also, Vanessa is a very nice unit in this matchup. Oh my god, Colleen already doing work. It's funny the order of that order is actually hilarious because you basically see whether you need to blood drain or not. In that case, the warrior is going to do 0 damage. So I'm curious whether, yeah, that's hilarious. That's so funny that shield comes before blood drain. I guess
Oh, it
Ron
doesn't?
gets to choose.
Damar?
Yeah, Daymar
Damar
gets to
might have
choose.
taken the damage first.
No, I think it was the, or maybe okay, because you have to do it
Oh,
at the start of your attack, right?
yeah.
Oh,
I
Colleen
mean, I think
charges.
Damar has to choose if he takes damage first, but I'm sure we'll see it again.
Mm-mm-mm. You can see the roll first, then choose to blood.
Okay.
Interesting. That's cool.
So in that case, he took 1 damage on Damar for 1 extra dice.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. 1 extra dice. Yeah, that's weird how it works, right? Yeah, because you can only, yeah, and like Nestle says, you can only reduce it to 1. You can't reduce it to 0. Yeah, reducing to 0 would be broken, I feel like. Be pretty broken.
Yeah.
All right, we got renewed hope, so no more renewed hopes. So Nestle, or sorry, Run can play a lot more, lot safer. That said, Nestle does open himself up to this super Daymar with 6 dice, just shooting down this.
Yep. Which he again rolled like 2 for 6.
Casamara is probably one of the big units also for, I mean, in most games, but especially in this matchup for Crimson Order. Just lots of value. Sarah's still high, so at some point, Run would probably love to, get some big damage. Nestle's been doing a good job keeping Sarah at high health. Also, I think both transfuses have been used, so Vanessa can't gain any health. The most annoying thing is getting Vanessa down to 1, and then he goes back up to 3 the turn after.
Hmm.
I see. Yeah, I think that makes sense, Nestle. Nestle says he should have kept his gate in hand for future. But let's see. So currently, Run is ahead on cards and board state, but at the same time, can you even say that because Colleen's on board and Sarah's still at 10? So I'm sure we'll still get a lot more cards. Oh, we got a heal by Priest. He must have had some terrible card in his hand. Oh my god. We got a Priest heal. Shoots. We got a Priest heal.
Sounds like a, either an Archer or Jacob.
Exactly, exactly. Or maybe another priest.
I'm not even sure like the best way for Sarah to like attack that formation with Daymar. Though I mean maybe Daymar has to leave
Mm,
formation to avoid inactivity damage.
looks like it was an archer by Nestle. Makes sense. Archer,
Yeah.
3 health on knight is way better than archer, especially this late. Yeah, I'm curious when Run decides to kill this gate. I think this gate has to die, to be honest. I think he's losing a lot of pressure with his 2 health gate. But we'll see. Ooh, Run has something to say. Let's see, let's see. Let's pause it this turn, I guess, so let's see. Makes sense. Daymar's still high. Both Nestle and Run have done a good job keeping their summoners at very high health.
Hmm.
Run says he was torn between staying back or in a rush, and I figured that this was enough health and beef to make a grab and kill stuff. Yeah, I think you were also ahead on cards. Only annoying thing really is Colleen's still up, and Nestle's doing a great job keeping Colleen alive.
Yeah, that's a turn that would take me probably a long time to figure out what I want to do there because like moving Daymar and the priest takes so much time.
True. Very true. Ooh, for attack Vanessa. Daymar has not been shooting well either, to be honest.
No, he has
Super
not.
Daymar. Oh, double special.
Oof, 1 out of 4.
That's a crazy roll. At least against the other night. But still, we're crazy. Daymar is not happy with all the priests around him. Also, putting my warriors in the F row to force him to stand in front of Baron. Yep, yep, that makes sense. To shoot at them. So you can keep your little. Oh, you have to keep your castle. Interesting.
But is that the last warrior now?
I
Dead?
think so, unless the last card's the warrior. So now, like, the only big hitter is Casamara. That's a good point. That's a pretty big turn. Um, okay. Killing occultist to deny magic. Killing the gate. Makes sense. Wants to open up the position a little bit. And Nestle's like, I'm just going to keep attacking these gates until you come to me. Curious if Run takes an activity damage this turn. I guess with Devouts you don't really need to. Nice! Colleen slowly going down. Slowly, slowly. Ideally, Run would love to kill this other gate also. He would love to just kill both.
But so Daymar could counterattack here
Mm.
with 2 priests adjacent.
Might be worth, to be honest, even though Daymar most likely takes some damage next turn. Or
He
no, I guess.
has
Sorry, go on.
he has cultist to block. I mean, the knight could kill the cultist, and Sarah hits Daymar. So okay,
Yeah, that's what he's doing. Ooh, gets a
okay.
nice hit in.
Yeah, so now Sarah has to really be careful of taking another hit from Daymar.
Hmm. All right, so with this play, Nestle is saying Daymar can hit. I'm basically taking one more unit with Sarah. This is kind of like one more night with Sarah. Um, oh, we get the damage. That's very cute. The all in.
Oh,
I like it. I like it. That's a very cute play. Going for the 4 for 4.
ooh.
Sad.
No more Doom cultists, so
Mm.
I can't get a cheeky Doom cultist kill.
Yep, afterwards. I guess you could potentially get one back with Casamara, but you're really far behind on. You need 3 more magic, basically. Or 2 more magic if you want to discard the gate. Let's see. This cultist is big. Oh, and doesn't come back. Oh, and
Ooh,
Sarah gets the
the three
three for
for
three.
three.
Damn. And then has the knight formation. Sarah
Yeah,
can keep hitting. Nuts.
yeah, that is a nice formation.
Mm-hmm.
And Daymar cannot retreat, so
He is stuck
yeah,
there.
that's. Oh, yeah, he does have the gate. Otherwise, that was looking like game.
Yep, yep. It's funny that priests can
So
go on.
if he can't bring down the knight here, oh,
Gets it.
he gets it.
Oh, he had one more convert. Looks like. What do you do as run? I think you just hit your own devout cultist. Hope that keeps coming back. Oh, we got another heal. Another heal. Colleen goes back up to 8. Heal broken. Heal's the most broken thing. Double heal in a game. How to use the convert to not take any damage this turn? I see. Oh yeah, because nothing would have been far enough. That makes sense. Otherwise, I wanted to save convert for sneak kill. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Hmm. Still needs 2 more magic to get Casimira.
Yeah, it's not looking too good.
Yeah, not with all those chunky knights.
At least the knight can't kill him this turn. Oh, and
Ooh,
gets it. Finally, rolling well. Called vampire power. Colleen getting in there. No more heals, sadly. And this is the
it's the 2 for
last.
2, so Daymar cannot retreat.
True, true. Good point. Good point. All right, this is looking over.
Well, he can heal up to 2, and then you've got a, what, 30% chance well, I guess Colleen
True, true, true.
can have the
Oh,
knight.
going off! 2 in a row. Nestle's starting to sweat. Yeah, I guess you're hoping Colleen misses here. But it's kind of coming down to the wire. Both these games have come down to the
Yeah,
wire.
because I mean Nestle's almost out of Citadel units.
Hmm.
the card's in hand, so he's not. Oh, so he's going for the 2 for 2 instead of the.
Oh, it
Oh.
whiffs! But they can, this has to go all in here. I
Oh, okay.
guess, yeah, because if Casamara came on, then it's probably game over.
That was close.
Yeah, that was very close. Because let's think about that. If I mean, it's very likely that with three range dice and two swords, you're gonna kill. But if
What are the odds of that compared to just going for 3 melee?
I think the problem is that Run has five magic and one card left, so and hasn't played Casamari left.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if Casamara comes down, then basically it's game over because you can just summon a Doom Cultist and Run of Daymar, and then yeah, it's it's game over.
Yeah, because for a while it was looking like Nestle was pulling ahead on Econ, but with those night kills,
Yep, the
Run getting up to 5 magic, that really swings it.
agreed.
But yeah, hitting the 3 for 5 is really high odds. Um,
Hmm.
must be over 90%, I assume.
Yep, I think it's over 90. Let's see. I'm pretty sure it's uh yeah 98%. So GG's, fun game.
How long was that? 46
46
turns.
turns. Yeah.
You still have the first game open as well, the high elf game.
Yeah, the first game was 35. So these are crazy. Did you guys do 14-day timers for this, or did you guys just do 3 day run in Nestle? But yeah, both these games came down to basically the last turn, or I guess this came maybe the last turn. I think Nestle had an extra turn, but very close as it can get, a turn away. Congrats to Nestle to making the finals, but I'm excited for the last game. 3 day, but Nestle was very nice with clock management. Nice. Good sportsmanship, Nestle. Yeah, I think. What are your thoughts on 14-day shoots? Are you a 14-day hater? Are you joining the 14-day hater club with me and Nestle?
It depends really on if the other person is like abusing it or not. Because I hate it when we're taking like 2 turns a day, or like no one takes a turn for several days. But like I just played Massimo and Faction Masters, and I sent the link at the beginning of the week, and we're in opposite time zones, so I'm like, I don't want to risk a 3 day timer here. We didn't end up starting till near the weekend, and then we finished it within 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think it makes sense in that case.
Yeah, that makes sense. And also, Massimo's. I've played 14-day games with him, and he plays pretty quickly for 14 days. Like, he doesn't take
Yeah.
like, yeah.
But yeah, generally, like if I'm playing a ranked game, I like it to end like within 2 days. So even the 3 day timers feel a bit long if the other person uses it up. Um, Generally, my timer like barely dips below the second day for a ranked game. Um, I guess for tournament games, I might play a bit slower, but yeah, I do prefer the 3 day timer, and then like you can always coordinate like do it over a weekend where you both have time, which is what I did with Vexer and Faction Masters.
Mm. Yeah, I think that makes the. I completely agree with you. I think sometimes, like you said, with time, like if someone's in Europe and someone's in the U.S., especially during a weekday where you both have work, sometimes 3 days is a little bit too short. But um, if you guys can coordinate time, that's usually the best. Or do 14 days, as long as both people are fine with it.
Hmm.
All right, on to the last one. So, Run has the Lizards, Mountain Vargath, Savannah Elves versus Nestle's Fallen Kingdoms, Spectral Conclave, and the Groaks. What are you thinking here as Run shoots?
I think you definitely have options depending on what you prefer, but Sven Elves does probably seem like the safest choice, being generally regarded as the strongest of these three. They've got range to deal with Spectral Conclave. I mean, I guess the Rhinos and the Lionesses are melee, so that is a lot of units that could be problematic. You kind of have to rely on the border archers. Um, but of course, Vargath are also very melee. Um, I feel like Isle of Ekid versus Spectral Conclave is pretty even.
Hmm.
But of course, you have to consider the other matchups, which, yeah, I'm not too certain about those either. So I would probably just go with whichever I prefer, which very well might be Savannah Elves.
Mm.
I'd probably go either Savannah Elves or Isle of Ekid, but I'd have to think about it more. How about you?
Um, yeah, I think there's no wrong choice here, really. I mean, I think maybe some people say Mount Vargath into Spectral Conclave might not be the easiest, but I think against all three, it's fine. Um, I probably would go Lizards or, like you said, Savannah Elves. Mostly because I'm not the most comfortable versus Spectral Conclave personally, and I know Lizards and Spectral Conclave came the same release cycle, which means usually they are pretty good against each other. Um,
Hmm.
as well as I think Savannah Elves, you have some tools. You have Rhinos, you have Archers. You do have a little bit of tools to try to deal with the spirits. As well as if Nestle Summoner's out of position, then it can just die in a turn or two. It's like a pretty, I mean, it's a medium health Summoner at 11, but Savannah Elves can definitely do 12 dice in a turn, given a line with the with the double attack. Um,
But
then
then
on
on
so.
Nestle's side,
Mhm.
I mean, I like the Spectral Conclave pick because, I mean, it feels fairly like even or favored. Again, because like we said, Isle of Ekid seems pretty even. Savannah Elves have a range game, but they do also have those melee units that could struggle. And then of course Mountain Vargath is very melee. Um, like if you were a fan of Fallen Kingdom or Deepwood Grogs, like I don't think there's any like bad matchups here, so it might be somewhat of a preference pick. I probably would have picked Savannah Elves and Spectral Conclave as well.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think there's no real like very lopsided matchups here with any of these six factions, at least that I know of.
Speaking
But
of lopsided matchups,
mhm.
I was able to play my first game in this tournament as Chosen Grove,
Uh huh.
you know, and then after that, Port kept matching them up with the Swamp Orcs, so I never got to play them again.
Again? Oh no, that's that's
But I don't
tragic.
think either of my opponents actually ended up picking Swamp Orcs, which I'm like, I don't know, if I was facing myself and I had Swamp Orcs and they had Chosen Grove, I
Always
think
choose
I would
them.
have risked it. I mean, not to mention like Swamp Orcs are good against anyone, or are good against most people anyways, but yes, so that's my complaint. I only got to play Chosen Grove once in this tournament.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to. I don't think I played this matchup, so I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes.
Yeah, no, it sounds very dynamic. Both sides having a shot. Run says, at this point in the session, I would donate my kidney not to play IV into SC again. Yeah, because you've played it so many times.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
And then Nestle says, possessing and fade away are very annoying as lizards. Yeah, because your commons are so good. Especially if you have like equipment on them. Like if you have like the push amulet, you can do some nasty things as a with possession.
Hmm.
All right, let's get into it. Another longer game. Interesting. I thought, to be honest, if this was the matchup, I think would have been pretty short. Like I think this is probably like over turn before turn 20, I guess. But we'll see. So run goes first. Yeah, nice starting hand. You always want to go first. as Savannah Elves is able to get the gate spot also, which is nice. Uh, yeah, you probably don't use power here. Would you discard power here, or would you keep it shoots? I know Chibata likes discarding power very liberally, or at least the first power as Savannah Elves.
I, I guess I'd probably keep it, is what my gut says, but
Mm-mm-mm.
I mean, we've got entangling and power, so if your units survive, that could be pretty nice. Now, how does possession interact with entangling and power? I assume you would lose power if you possess. You you probably lose them
I
both,
think
right?
you're probably right. Yeah, that's an interesting interaction. Um, I mean, no, maybe not, because it doesn't say. Yeah, hopefully we see it. That's an interesting interaction. I'm assuming you probably don't actually, or who knows? Who knows? Like turning from friendly to the enemy, does that change the wording? I guess is your point.
Yeah, I suppose because it targeted specific unit. I don't know, maybe it sticks around.
I guess the other thing here didn't happen this turn, but it's kind of dangerous to keep a boosted archer alive to be possessed because you can use that boost.
Hmm.
You can possess a fighter, a dancer. Oh, I see, and attack Roku. That's interesting. Yeah, because you can use dance to basically move their units away from from Roku. That's funny.
Okay, so here's the Mind Mage. Does it go for the possession?
Possession
I'd
and
assume
attack the
so.
gate.
No, doesn't need to because you got the kill.
Mm-mm-mm. Oh yeah. Makes sense. Does Nestle possess? Attack the gate? No. Okay, we get the first Rhino. I think that's probably the most important unit in this matchup, or most important common, I should say.
Really? I would say Border Archer is the most important.
You're probably right, but if you can get like two Rhinos off with a lot of boost, I guess they probably kill the Rhinos really quickly, so having a lot of boost isn't as impactful as I'm thinking. Oh no, Medi! Sad.
Might be the worst matchup for Midi Mumway.
True. Medi Mumway should have speed and should have speed also. Yep. Just a flying tree, tree flying across the board.
Oh, Nestle seems to agree with me that the Archer is the bigger threat.
Mm-mm-mm. True. Yeah, trying to get rid of it instead of the Rhino.
Oh no, he's got the fadeaway for the Rhino as well, so gonna deal with them both here.
Fadeaway seems brutal in this matchup. Yeah, all these two costs.
So many juicy targets.
Yep. Ooh, potentially getting a nice. But I can't get the last boost to kill the. Oh, he's able to. Okay, I forgot. I forgot how movement works. Able to kill. Oh, that's
Yeah, so I
cool. You
guess
can.
he gets to.
Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say, does he get to choose the order, or he just the damage happens first before the fadeaway? But yeah, so he goes for the play you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's the double trample kill.
Yeah, that was a sick play by Run. You gotta choose the order. Cool. Another fadeaway. That's brutal. Both these boosted rhinos just dead within as soon as the turn after they come. Uh, yeah, it makes sense. Might as well just attack Faerun.
Favorite.
Faerun, yeah. Faerun. Um, interesting thing is, I kind of like this also because if you can get Faerun low enough, uh, they're probably also too afraid to get close enough to make Illusionist work, especially start like even at 8, but especially at 6, like you have to be very careful with your summoner against Savannah Elves.
Should ask, does my mic pick up my dog barking in the background?
No, don't worry about it. barely,
Okay.
barely, but it's not. You can't really hear it. Ooh, nice idea. Like that by Run. Get the high health champions out. Savannah Elves.
Follower goal met 60 for 60.
Nice. Nice. Where are these
I'll claim
two?
partial credit for that.
Yep, yep. I'll start paying you money. Shoots. You can have the stream revenue. I'll pay you the 2 cents of stream revenue I got from this this stream. No, I'm kidding. I'm assuming we're
Yeah,
gonna get a
so
stag. Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say that run summoned a Kenda, which is definitely the champ you'd
Yeah,
want of the three in this matchup.
agreed. Agreed. Yeah, a little bit tricky as Savannah Elves here. I guess Abu's at full health. Nestle's at 5 magic, hasn't summoned a champion yet, so we're potentially seeing one next turn. I think the scary thing about the so I guess after this game we can talk about where you put Spectral Conclave in terms of power. Shoots.
Yeah, Makendaru up to 4 boosts. Now, was the first power discarded?
So it's definitely not used. Let's see if it's discarded. We can check after this attack. No, this is the same power from the starting hand. So one more power left. Yeah.
Okay, so this one can be used pretty freely
hmm
as there's a good opportunity. Um,
Especially if this gate dies.
mhm.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, I guess if the game was a little lower, well, no, I guess Faerun is too far back. But
I
yeah, something to watch out
guess
for.
agreed. I think there's even an argument to just blasting this gate. Getting what is that? That's a 6. I mean, you can do 5 here, so 7, 6 plus 3. So this gate's most likely dead unless range dice are terrible. And that kind of forces Nestle to summon another gate. Um, Interesting. I guess Run does have some choices here, like you said, with McKenya, so high boosted.
Mhm.
Makanda. Makanda. I can't pronounce anything. All right, I like it. Denying magic, killing the fox, hopefully. Oh,
Oof.
do you double attack this gate? I'm not sure if it's worth it. Yeah, I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, so back off the Mind Mage so Fox can kill the gate and slide over to safety.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, great
Pick up
point.
the easy kill on the mage.
Oh, interesting.
Well, I guess it's not safe now because of the 3 for 3, but I still think you like getting the magic there.
Yep, agreed. Okay, going for the range dice.
I mean, if you want to secure the 2 kills, you could use the power here. It's not a ton of value, but you'd be guaranteed to
Yeah, we
kill
guarantee
them
it.
both.
Ooh. Yeah, it decides to do it, like you said. Run says I'm not a big invested into gate destruction player, but that's an interesting idea. Yeah, I'm curious. It would just I mean it matters if Nestle has any other gates in hand. It's a lot less powerful if he already has, 2 other gates in hand. Um and so we get Talul
And the Ghost Walk.
and the Ghost Walk.
Spend a boost for the Fox.
A little bit dangerous. Probably it's Unleash turn if I had to guess.
Now I'm going to guess there's an Unleash coming as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you now
I
you can
guess.
summon an illusory unit and swap in Talo afterwards.
Mhm.
Which, did Makenda have full health at the start of the turn?
I think so, yeah. It just shows you the insane burst this faction has.
And I'd be really sad if I was run here. But, so how many dice? I mean, Nestle rolled well, but
Yeah, let's check.
3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So he rolled, what, 10 dice on Makenda?
Was McKenna at 7 or 9 at the start? That's the only thing which I'm not sure. I wish it was a slightly better. There should be like a. Yeah, it was at 9 at the
Yeah,
start
right.
of the turn. So yeah.
Okay, so rolled the 9 for 10. So it's a good play regardless. Well,
Hmm.
but if Makenda lives, I guess Run doesn't have power this turn. But if Makenda lives and Run has his second power, that's a pretty scary
Yeah, it's a pretty
counterattack.
exactly. It's a pretty scary turn.
You can, well, you might just blow up Talo, but if you roll really well, you could hit Talo and Faerun.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, Talo probably survives the first power attack, so I think it's
I
probably an
mean, with
acceptable
this
play.
hand, there was a chance at lethal, right? Because you would. Let's see. So how many dice would you have? I guess it matters. Like you said, it matters if Taylor dies with another power. But basically, yeah, it basically Nestle's banking that it dies and or Run does not have another power.
But she doesn't have the power in hand, so it,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Say, I think that's what Nestle, the gamble Nestle was making, and then he says that my hand was clogged with events, so I just was hoping to use them. I see. I see. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, Makenda was a real pain there, so nice to remove her.
Yep. And most likely you survive the turn afterwards, like you said.
Mhm.
Cool. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, that does put Savannah Elves in a really tricky spot because now you're behind on board. I think you're behind in cards. The two, well, a 4 for 4 would be really nice here. Nope.
Hmm. Yeah, 4 for 4 on these two foxes. Ah, tragic. Yeah, Run says that he was
Oh,
hoping the threat of a second power would keep the turn away. Yeah, because I feel like they use the power in such a way where I think a lot of players would assume they had the second power in hand, right? Like using the power on two
yeah.
two twos. Like that screams to me as a player who doesn't know better. There must be like he must have two powers in hand and just wants to use one. Um, but yeah. Anyways, sorry, what were you gonna say, Shoots? I didn't mean to.
Run still has 4 magic, so I mean, he still has the potential of assembling a combo in the next few turns to get the kill on Faerun. At this point, like, I feel like Nestle's kind of in the driver's seat, and Van Els might need to go for the assassination at some point to win.
Hmm. Red says the position here is interesting because all the range units for SE, uh, it's getting hard to use them when they're so close to getting Preston. Yeah, especially mages at 2 life. It's always feels hard to use them when your opponent's very close to you.
Hmm.
The good, yeah, especially it gets a little tricky. But yeah, like you said, Run is still
Well,
at 4 magic. So I go on.
and like if archers move to get into position, then Abua needs to move to boost them.
Exactly,
So,
exactly. Yeah, great point. Shoots and Run. So we get the first. I think that's the first duplicate. Getting a ton of damage on a Bua. Double gate. Double gate. Not only single gate. Aren't you a bit scared here, though? I think you do need something here. In case you, I guess it matters if the archer lives. Oh, the fox will go. The fox will go. That makes sense. I always forget Lesser Fent.
oh, but taking that spot.
Hmm.
Oh, so he uses the unleash here. You
That's
just
the
mostly
last one.
block the gate spot.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah, so unleashes are gone now.
Yeah, because
Have we seen either
otherwise,
entangling yet?
I don't think so. Were they? I know one was in the starting hand, but I think it was discarded. Yeah, both entanglings were discarded. I think. So we get the triple dismiss. I don't know. I'm getting more and more convinced that the Spectral Conclave are S tier. Like I'm not sure. I don't think they're broken, but they definitely are damn strong.
And at this point, I just have them in A tier.
hmm
A. I mean, in some matchups they might feel broken, but in general, like I mean, facing them and playing as them, they feel strong, but they haven't felt broken to me.
Mm. Yeah, no, I don't think they're broken, but I feel like they're kind of like high elves, where they just seem to have the tools for almost everything. Like they do have some bad matchups, I guess, but so do shadow. Not sorry, not high elves. Shadow elves. Like I'm trying to think what's the difference for me between those two factions. Um, Depart fell force there to get space back, but it basically costs an entire Rhino. Yeah, it gets tricky, especially in this position. At least you do have power, but you're kind of running low on cards. And also you don't have the combo with like Shoots was pointing out. I think both though Nestle doesn't know, but both entanglings are thrown away, so you have a little bit less of lethal threat than you would um, normally. But yeah, you're able to clear out nicely here. Sadly, there's still two more boost on Faerun. But you're not in the worst position here. I mean, it doesn't look good, let's say it that way. Oh, Maro out. Okay. All right. This does not look good.
I mean, it's Nestle has to play around like getting a power unit next to Faerun.
A power
But
entangle,
yeah,
yeah.
but he's blocking with two champs. Yeah,
Mm.
so you won't be able to, depart a unit to get the power.
Yeah, now Run only has two cards left. You can almost guarantee this Rhino's gonna die, especially because Talu could still swap in. Yeah, the part is pretty wild. Yeah, agreed. But yeah, this looks pretty
Yeah.
over. Especially with Muro and Talu at full health. I guess if the Spirit Mages could live a little longer, maybe you can get some crazy Archer RNG. Archer power, but yeah, not looking
I mean,
good.
even if you get like 5 boosts on that archer, like you can kill Myro, but you're not going to get the Faerun behind Myro. So
True, true. True, true, true. Gets the dice also. Ah, fun game, though. GG's.
how long was that game?
I think, let's see. I mean, Savannah L sells a shot. Haha, no, I'm kidding. This game's over. 32 turns. So yeah, I think every single game went over 30, right? Or was the first one 29? 35, sorry. Yeah, I shouldn't go off. All right.
I think of like 30 turn games as just medium.
Mm,
Once you get over 40, that's when it's long. But it's not epic until you pass 60.
Terrible. This archer rolled a 5 for 12 or something? 5 for 11?
Oh,
Archer needs to be discarded next time. Ron, I hope you discard your next archer.
gonna force some inactivity damage.
Yeah, it looks like. I threw the
Oh,
whole
good
deck
game
in the
so
trash. Don't
far.
worry. Got betrayed. S tier, huh? Yep. Take it up with Vexer. He's the one who put it there. No, I think most people had it up there. But do you think, Shoots, do you think still, after all these releases, Savannah Elves is still S tier? I could make an argument that I think they're just high A tier. Oh my god! At least it didn't matter. I don't think I've ever seen that yet.
I've seen an 0 for 5.
Think about it. This was a unit with frost axes, though. Like, how much damage would that have been? Like, this is the dream of a Polar Doors
Yeah.
player. 6 in a row of the same dice. Crazy. Sorry,
I
Shoots.
think
Um,
as far as Savannah's being S tier, like I do still have them as S tier, but they're probably bottom of the S tier. Like Shadow Elves, Cloaks, they're probably stronger. And so that's certain like where exactly Filth compared to the other three either. I actually missed like the first month of the Filth versus Chosen Grove, so I haven't played against as that many Filth or Chosen Grove. Also, when I do play Filth, I'm playing as Chosen Grove, who have a favorable matchup.
mm,
So, um,
that is true.
like I haven't really experienced Filth feeling broken, but again, that could just be like lack of games against them. And Savannah Elves don't have like the repeatable broken moves like Cloaks do with
Hand cannon, Moto Boots
yeah.
Mechanist.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess it's hard to rate them all.
I'm curious about I know it's probably going to be a little bit, but I'm curious for the next Plat Hat, what changes will be made to certain decks. Because I think we should definitely. It'll be cool to see some experimentation with the Fae. I think the Vanguard's buffs are great. I wish those were. I think they hit the sweet spot with the Vanguard's buffs in a Plat Hat tournament. I wish they would convert that to just normal online play. Um, Trying to think. Fallen Kingdoms, I think, are kind of busted. in I think Fallen Kingdoms would be S tier if they had the whatever the 10 health Gul'das. That thing's broken, or 11 health Gul'das. That thing is
Yeah,
so broken.
yeah, like watching Dexter like slowly chip away at that cool toss with his Shadow
Oh
Elves
yeah, yeah,
took forever. Yeah, like I think Goldos was fine with the extra health, but was it like an extra 2 health just seems too much.
yeah. Too broken.
Um, I mean, most of the tournament changes could be pretty standard, though also like the next tournament will be automated, so we might just
Mm,
get more tournaments going forward.
that'd be cool.
At
Yeah.
that point, like, will the tournament changes still be normal, or if it's automated, will it just be like the normal decks without the tournament changes?
Mm-mm.
Possibly. Um, yeah,
Or
otherwise, yeah,
so.
a Fey buff. Probably still too early to nerf Filth in a tournament. Um,
Mm.
I guess the Filth did absolutely dominate the first tournament, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they did in the last group. Um, I guess there's an argument for saying that that was also kind of at the point where people didn't really like people have a lot more practice against them now than they did back then.
Yeah, and I generally find factions are strongest when they're first released because it's easier to play as them than to play against them.
Great point.
And I'm not the best Spectral Conclave player, but like when I first played as them, it was fairly even. Then I went on a really long win streak with them, or a reasonable win streak. And then after that, I went on a losing streak with them. It's been a bit back and forth now, so I mean, they haven't felt broken to me. I mean, they can just feed the opponent magic, and if Faerun gets too far up, it just opens up assassination attempts on Faerun. So it feels like there's plenty of counterplay with most factions, as long as you have a good strategy for facing them.
Mm. Do you think next tournament Wayfarers will just be one of the more busted factions just because they're so good against into Spectral Conclave, into a lot of the like Shadow Elves. I'm not sure how they do into Filth. It's probably I'm assuming it's Filth favored. Um, just off the top of my head. But
I feel like one of the tournaments, official tournaments I played, which would have been one of the last two, the Wayfarers were like really strong in the first round, and then they just dropped off. So,
yeah,
but that makes me wonder, like, why did they drop off? Was it because you should face like more Shadow Elves later on in the tournament? Um,
I think what I usually thought when I was playing tournaments was that Wayfarers, because Wayfarers always does really well, like you said, the first 1-2 rounds, and I usually thought it's because usually there's slightly weaker players, and usually like it's like kind of like Cave Goblins, where the more experienced you are as a player, um, the more you know how to play around them. But I agree. Maybe I think the weird thing is also usually it could also be because the players who usually make the last round rarely bring Wayfarers outside of like maybe Bookish, like an Astro, or like the only two players who I remember bringing Wayfarers to the last group. Um, yeah.
it does seem like a lot of the newer players like Wayfarers more than players who have been around longer.
Mm,
Um, I guess I don't know exactly how long all the players have been around, but it always feels like there's a new player on the Discord who's, getting up to like 13, 1400 with the Wayfarers. Um, and
true.
like, I mean, Jack's like started playing the Wayfarers, but that was like more recent. You don't like hear that many people who are like playing Wayfarers from the beginning and are like a big Wayfarers fan.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, I'm happy with the resurgence. Also, the resurgence of Fallen Kingdoms, at least last season, with Aerie versus does uh does Dark and Stormy, what's his
Tommy,
name, still play?
Dark
Dark
Tommy.
Darkami, yeah.
I'm not sure if he's been playing as much this season.
Yeah.
I think he was playing at the beginning of the season, I think.
Yeah, maybe he's taking a break. Cause do I see him on Fallen Kingdoms? He's third place, but yeah. Huh, interesting. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, he's playing a lot of. I feel like he would love Spectral Conclave, so good to see that he's playing. He has such cool combos, like very creative player. So I think Fallen Kingdoms and Spectral Conclave are two great factions to express your creativity within Summoner Wars. Um, yeah, no, it should
Yeah,
be. Sorry, one.
yeah, the next official tournament I do, which depends when it is, I'll probably wait till the like late fall to do another tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'll bring Chosen Grove for sure. I probably want to try out Spectral Conclave in a tournament. I guess if the dragons are out, I'll bring those as well. And then
Mm.
I'll just round out with a S tier faction. So either my go-to Shadow Elves or thinking about mixing it up and bringing the cloaks, possibly because the cloaks might even be more broken if played like with all their tricks, but I'm not
Mm.
certain about that.
No, that's a good point. I think Cloaks is. I think they get underrated because they keep getting nerfed every single. They're one of the S tier like. Are they the only S tier faction which gets nerfed consistently every every Plaid Hat tournament? I think so because Filth doesn't. Shadow Elves never does. Um, and Savannah Elves. I mean, it's not really a nerf or a buff. It's just more of a reconfiguration. Um,
Mm-hmm. Like thinking of Xer's choices, like he brought both Savannah elves, cloaks, and shadow elves. But then like for the finals, he left Savannah elves on the bench. So I guess Vexer probably has shadow elves, cloaks, and filth over Savannah elves.
yeah, I think he was on. I was surprised by the Cloaks over Savannah Elves. But I think the reason Filth was because he said he was like on some absurd like 30-0 win rate with Filth
Yeah.
before. and then Shadow Elves makes sense, and then yeah, I guess he thought Cloaks was stronger overall, or maybe he's like Davoud and he didn't think about it too much and just inputted them and just got randomly selected. Because I was like, Davoud, how did you end up with Shadow Elves over? What did he have? He had Fallen Kingdoms, Avians, and what was his last?
Argath.
Oh yeah, Vargath. And I'm like, I would assume that you choose Shadow Elves over those ones, and it's just because he forgot to the order mattered for input.
Well, I think it was on a podcast Xer was on where he said, or maybe it was Prophet, but one of them was talking about how the order you choose your factions, matters um, because it determines who you bring to the finals if you make it. So I think Vexer was aware.
Okay, makes sense. Also, he's been in the finals before, so he knows how it works.
And I actually played in the tournament my Savannah Elves versus Vexer's Cloaks. And we were kind of talking after the game,
Mm.
which, again, maybe some things he was saying were just to be a good sport, but um, he, he he seemed to think uh, cloaks were a bit more broken than Savannah elves, and
Mm.
with some of the things they can abuse. And as far as the nerf to cloaks, which is for their epic event, you can't play till the attack phase, which limits your assassination potentials, and it does make it easier for the opponent to like plan around those turns, which I've learned are super annoying to plan around.
Mm.
But as far as like your econ, it doesn't really affect your econ that much. And I mean, cloaks have a lot of econ um with their what's it called? The Machinist.
Yeah, the Moto Boots Gunner Machinist.
Yeah, and then their range can be just crazy with dagger and
Yeah,
the various
bandits,
zero cost. Yeah,
or just like the second Moto Boots also usually is used to crazy effect.
yeah. But I haven't played too much cloaks myself, so somewhat speculative. But yeah, maybe someday I'll bring them instead of the shadow elves.
Yeah, I think they're yeah, I think they're one of the strongest factions definitely, and I think they also have good matchups into a lot of like they have a really good matchup into Filth. Um, they have a good matchup into Spectral Conclave. Yeah, I think they're just all around. Like, what is their bad matchup really? What's Cloak's worst matchup? Wayfair? No, not Wayfairs.
Do they struggle with cave goblins or
Cave.
not?
I don't think so. It was a plat hat, and I think it went 50-50. But it did feel like one of those ones where I just played like 5 games against Bean, and I lost like the first 3 terribly, and then afterwards you sort of get into like a oh, this is how you're like you have to play very specifically, and if people just play normal, like you have to play Cave Goblins game, let's say it that way. Um,
Yeah, which is honestly something I'm still learning.
mm,
Um, like I've struggled recently with shadow elves against cave goblins because I just can't play my game, and then at one event they can only play twice a game, but when they can force all their units one
yeah,
extra space that turn, it messes everything up. But
I agreed. I
but
agreed.
then like if they don't play it, you played around it for nothing. So
Yeah.
uh, cave goblins versus tree, that's a matchup I can play.
Yeah, that sounds very fun for Tree. um, Tortugatron. Yeah. So me and Vexer will be casting the finals. So whenever you guys are done. Um, not sure. Eden might make a poster. I'm not sure if he has time though. He says he's very busy. But yeah, it should be. I was gonna, if you want to shoots. Well, to wrap this thing up, do you want to go over the factions that Nestle and Bookish have left over
Sure.
after making to the finals? Um,
Yes. First of all, again, congrats to Run for making it to the quarterfinals. I mean, Run made it to the finals of the last Faction Masters tournament, last season.
damn.
But really,
Mm.
high um, tournament finishes with maybe his first couple tournaments. And
Mm-mm-mm.
then yeah, congrats to Nestle to making it back to the finals. Which did you say that Nestle won the last Turtle tournament?
Yeah, so he didn't win. Vexer won the last Turtle Surprise, but Nestle won the Turtle. Not Turtle Surprise, the Turtle. Turtle Mania. Turtle Mania? Yeah,
Was that the last one?
I think so. Yes.
So the chance to go two turtles in a row.
And two different formats, even more impressive.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, like you said, congrats to Run for making it so far. The highest. He's also a mentor. So any mentees who want a amazing mentor, ask for Run, not Eden. Eden loses to his mentees, so maybe it's good if you want a confidence boost. Um, next up, yeah, Nestle, congratulations to making the final. I think it's a super cool matchup because I think Bookish and Nestle um, are both incredible players um, who both are also kind of very unique players in terms of how they play. Um, so I think it should be a very fun. I'm curious if it's like a longer series, or I could also see between those two players it being like very short, like below 20 turn games.
And I think, at least as of right now, I think Bookish is still in the Faction Masters tournament with the Wayfarers.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's really far in two tournaments right now. Interested to see how they both turn out.
Yeah, we'll see. Run says he is indeed open to all bird aspirants. You've done a good job. There's been a lot of birds on ladder. People have been complaining about them, and also, yeah, very. I think birds are one of the best factions for new players to learn. Very versatile.
Yeah, a good faction for tree to face. So let's get lots of birds out on ladder.
So you can make it rank one. Uh, cool. Oh yeah,
So
true. Sorry, go on.
they've already chosen their faction, so we can talk about faction choice or not.
They already chose their factions, but we won't be able to see. Let's see. I don't think Turtle says that he's not
Are you
putting
under
anything.
the playoff? Oh yeah, Turtle hit them, so you can't
Yeah,
accidentally
yeah, yeah. We
spoil
can't
them
hit
because
anything.
you did not go into the spoiler-free channel, but
I did that. Oh yeah, yeah. True, true, true. I think Turtle hit them just in case because he knows my.
oh yeah,
He
he,
knows.
he completely hit them. Okay.
Yeah, he completely hit them. Um, but yeah, we can talk about. It's interesting because Nestle has left Fallen Kingdoms, Polar Dwarfs, Sand Goblins, Mount Vargath, uh, Deeper Groaks, Storm Goblins, Forged, Chosen Grove, and Filth. So still some very solid. He's gotten rid of all the these are all very just solid factions. Um, what would be the worst combination? Fallen
Uh,
Kingdom. Sorry,
Polar Dwarves.
Polar Dwarves. Yeah. Uh, Deeper Groaks, I guess. I don't think Groaks are that strong. Uh,
Yeah, I could see that.
no, it's fine, Nestle. We'll keep it hidden for, uh, yeah, the
Yeah,
finals. I think. Um,
and it's only a few days anyways.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
I think
the
it's more exciting.
factions I want to see, I
Hmm.
would want to see as Nestle. I mean, Sand Goblin.
Yep.
Yeah, and Filth. I think those are probably the two best remaining, Sand Goblins and Filth.
Hmm.
Obviously, I'd like Tree to be one of my three choices, but pretty biased there.
The Nestle tree. I don't think I've ever seen it. It could be fun to see. And
Yeah.
then,
We see what Nexer has.
you mean Bookish?
Oh, Bookish. Oh yeah, Vexer is the one commentating with you.
Yep, yep, yep. We have Cave Goblins, Fallen Kingdoms, Savannah Elves, Cloaks, Fungal Dwarves, Shadow Elves, Mountain Vargath, Deeper Groaks, and the tree. So I think Nestle definitely mattering on the matchups. I think Nestle definitely has the more flexible. I think like almost all his factions are pretty flexible. Uh, versus, or at least I don't think there's any combination of three factions which would not, which would have a bad matchup. Let's say it that way. Given the 9 he has left versus Bookish potentially can get like cave goblins, fallen kingdom, and fungal doors, and then it's like against some things it's like what do I even choose? Like
Yeah, Booknish has some really strong picks here with, I mean, Cloaks, Shadow Elves, and Savannah Elves.
yep yep.
Three of the classic S tiers.
So I think for Bookish it's more like really matters what the factions they get are. Are they able to nicely spread out their three S tier factions, or are they all stuck in one matchup? So it's up to
Oh
the
yeah.
luck of the draw. Sorry, go on.
Oh, yeah. I was kind of forgetting for a moment that you have three different games to pick, so it's all 9 show up. It's we actually want them spread out potentially.
Yeah, you'd want. Yeah, like you said, ideally you'd have all three of them spread out. But who knows? I'm excited for the finals though. Um, we'll see when they're done. No rush, of course. But yeah, whenever they're done, uh, I'll talk to Tortugatron and Vexer, and we'll try to figure out a date which works for everyone. Um, but yeah, thanks so much, Shoots. That was a lot of fun casting with you, as always.
Yeah, I was glad to be here.
What is the time to watch some NBA? It's the NBA Finals today. We'll see. We'll see what's the score. Okay, pretty close. Nice, nice, nice.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. um, but yeah, no, that was a great series. Congrats to Nestle. Great run, great run. Oh, that's amazing. You both should be very proud of those games. Very close. I think I could have won either way in a few of those, or in two of those three games. It definitely seemed like it could win either way. The Savannah L's one seemed a little more tricky, but I'm not really sure what I would have done differently from run, I guess. So, anyways, yeah, thanks so much, Shoots. And thanks everyone for coming. I'll see you guys soon for the finals. Bye bye.